Exe, happy Monday to all of you. Hope you had a good weekend. Quick one. I'm going to paste a link at the bottom of this video in the description to an interview that was done on ENCA last week with a lady named Ntabiseng Dubazana, who is a legal expert from Dubazana Attorneys. And she was basically covering some of the important legal aspects of the current case of Bianca Naidoo, the partner of the late Riky, who committed suicide earlier this year, I believe in February. Bianca Naidoo is currently fighting with the Master of the High Court, where she is looking to be the executrix, a female version of an executor for Rik's estate. But what she's actually fighting for, she wants the rights that a married wife would have gotten, which now becomes very difficult, and people are trying to figure out what does that really mean. Some of the important things that Ntabiseng raised. Number one, the fact that you've lived with someone for more than 6 months, not married, doesn't mean anything. There were discussions about this last year, but they were just discussions, just suggestions. How our legal process works is that a bill needs to be drafted in Parliament, and then it needs to be sent out for public comment. There's a green paper, there's a white paper, and then all of a sudden it becomes a law. Currently, there's no bill. It's just a suggestion. It is just talks. So if you've been living with someone for 6 months, 2 years, 5 years, 20 years, you're not entitled to anything that they own. This is fundamentally important for partners who are like, no, we don't believe in the marriage thing, we're life partners, and you're entitled to nothing once that person passes away. If you can, please draft a contract of some sort to ensure that certain assets, it's written down, they belong to both of you guys, so that at least you have a leg to stand on. If possible, of course, register maybe a company, maybe a legal partnership, and ensure that certain assets are listed under both your names. That's how you'll get certain protection for certain assets, not all of them. The other thing she was highlighting was the fact that customary marriage versus civil. And this one upsets me a lot because in this country, we speak a lot about marriage, speak a lot about customary marriage, ilobolo, I'm cultural, tina sabe Zulu. But most people don't understand the prescriptions. Under customary marriage, for those of you that do not know, you cannot be married out of community of property. I'll repeat that again for those at the back. If you got married under customary law, you can only be married in community of property. It is only under civil marriage that you can be out of community of property and have an anti-nuptial agreement. So if you get married under customary law, you paid ilobolo, you guys had umabo, umshado, membeso, etc. And then afterwards you want to draft a prenup or whatever anti-nuptial contract, it's not going to pass. You're going to have to dismantle this marriage and then start again and start it under civil. That's very important, and it causes a lot of fights for a lot of people. Obviously, it gets more complicated under polygamous situations. The other important thing for people to understand is there's no general consensus when it comes to customary marriage. I believe her name is Lerato, the lady that was married to the late WHP, who also took his life from suicide. She went to court, she fought. WHP's family said that, look, I believe, I stand to be corrected on the case. You guys can correct me, of course, if I'm wrong. We didn't pay lobolo, we didn't have a marriage. She said because the families met and had agreed that a marriage was going to take place, that was sufficient. And the judge ruled in her favor. Ntabiseng Dubazana said that when it comes to ilobolo, let's say the family charges 10,000, 50,000, even if the man pays 100 rand, 100 rand, 50 rand, that small part payment means you guys are married. That's what she said. Whether there's a celebration or not, whether there's something written down or not, as soon as the families agree on a lobolo amount, and as soon as he pays any little amount, you guys are then officially married. You're not engaged, you are married, and that holds up in court. People need to understand this because it's so important. The other aspects they look at is a celebration. So even if he's paid nothing in ilobolo, if there is proof of a celebration, there were witnesses, maybe there are photos. I saw this in the case of Upabi Moloi, who said she wasn't married to her ex, this white gentleman who was basically suing her for half of her assets upon their divorce. She said, we weren't married. He's like, I've got files. And he showed pictures of a celebration that they had, especially a picture that she posted on Instagram saying, congrats to everyone who got married. I got married as well today. Boom. If there's a celebration of sorts and witnesses or pictures that can hold up in court, there's other things that can be looked at, of course. The families themselves can write a document. It can even be handwritten, stating that this couple is now married. An affidavit, maybe, if it can hold up in court, is another one. This is customary marriage. If you want to prove that you are a wife or a husband and your partner has died, has passed away, and you now want to be the executor or the executrix of the estate, which means you're going to be controlling what happens to the assets and if any of those assets need to be distributed. Very scary, but very important. And obviously, for greater detail, like I said, I'm going to post a link to the full 30-minute interview. I hope that will teach you guys a few things. The next important thing she spoke about was how fundamentally vital it is for any of us to have a will. Whether you have children or not, whether you are married or not, draft a will. Draft a will. From the 12th to the 16th of September this month in 2022, it's going to be Wills Week in this country of South Africa. And a lot of law firms, you can maybe see them online, are going to be offering to do wills for free. They'll help you draft your will for free, and then you can list all your assets. It doesn't matter what assets you have. And then from there, you can say, look, I think I'm a bit responsible. And hopefully every year, every 2 years, you can review your will and update it as and when necessary. I remember doing an exercise where I thought, look, I don't have much. Then I started thinking, I have a YouTube channel that pays me. That's intellectual property. That's an asset. So anyone that inherits this will earn that money, number one. And number two, can own my videos and use them in whatever way. Maybe one of my videos gets used in a big Hollywood movie one day and they paid thousands of dollars. I've got 2 mixtapes, music, that I've made. I've never registered them with Samro. I need to register them with Samro because those could be assets. There's original beats there. There's original lyrics. There's original singing. I've got books. I've written 13 books. 13. Whoever owns the rights to my books gets to own my books. And if my books are ever turned into a movie, turned into a series, or someone wants to do anything with them, those are real-time assets. Never mind the fact that my family has got properties. Never mind the fact that there's certain vehicles in the family. Never mind that there's certain land. And there's a little bit of cash in some of my bank accounts. Those are just ideas of assets. What about the rest of my pictures? Some of my artworks. By the way, I have artworks that are sitting that could be exhibited at any given day around the world and sold for thousands, if not millions of US dollars. Those are your assets. So you may have something, intellectual property, your diaries, some of the things you've written, some of the music you've made, something you've created somewhere. Go and put that in a will. And if you don't know, ask people for help. For me, what's fundamentally important is we need to start speaking about the importance of marriage. The fact that customary marriages still go to this Western law blows my mind. In my mind, it's pretty straightforward. If you're getting married under customary, that means a chief or a king needs to be told, in this area, there were people that got married. And they must then document that. Penuel got married to that lady on this day customarily. So that at any given time when there's fights, the chief or the king can be like, nope, I documented this marriage. So I'm aware. It can't be that it's enough to just pay a little bit of ilobolo. There was some besidlama play to 7 colors. And now all of a sudden you're going to Western courts with Western prescriptions to come and dictate customary laws. Again, these are some of the reasons why I have issues with the kings in this country and feel that they should fall. What work are they doing? What disputes are they handling? Misu Zulu, as the king of the Zulus, and if you look at his family, have been fighting in Western courts for some of his father's assets and what should be happening with the Zulu kingdom. In Western courts, not in Zulu tribal courts. Is marriage still relevant in 2022? What does it mean? Does it have a lot of positives? Does it have a lot of negatives? Which outweigh which? Which outweigh which? Should we be looking that if we're partners, if we're buying assets, let's make sure that we do it jointly and our names are there, our ID numbers are there. If we're maybe buying a car, whose name is this car under? Because that's the person that will inherit. If we have any other assets, should we set up a partnership? Should we set up maybe a private company or some other legal entity to ensure that we put our assets in there in case anything happens? And then there's the story of trusts. And trusts are a conversation all on their own. Trusts are expensive, man. I think for like a standard trust, you could be looking at ridiculous amounts like 15,000 Rand. So they're not for the average Joe. And they also get taxed at 40% per year, which is a high tax rate, especially if you consider that companies pay a tax rate of 28%. So who should get trusts? And I know myself and certain mates in finance have said, look, if you have assets over 1 million or 3 million Rand, maybe you should look into a trust. Anything below that, it's probably not worth it financially because you have to pay for its maintenance. Some wills as well, for them to be kept, whether with a law firm, whether with a certain bank, you have to pay for those wills as well to be kept safe for in case anything ever happens. There's a lot of money that's sitting at the South African Revenue Services, SARS, our tax man. There's a lot of money sitting with insurance companies. There's a lot of money sitting with pension funds, certain money sitting with the UIF. People are not aware that there's money of theirs that is sitting somewhere because they've never taken their mother, father, grandfather's IDs and gone knocking on all these doors. Sanlam, Old Mutual, Momentum. Go to SARS, go to wherever, go to the Master of High Court and be like, here's an ID number and a death certificate. I'd just like to ask if there's any monies that are due to this person. Are there any bank accounts linked to this person that might have some money? These are important conversations we're meant to be having because these are the conversations that cause very, very bitter fights between families, bitter fights between children, especially for people like myself. I've got 6 children from 4 mothers. What happens if I die with assets and now those children are fighting? Or the mothers are fighting. No, I've got more children than you. I deserve more. No, but my children are older than yours. We deserve more. My kids themselves are fighting. I want my dad's books. No, I want my dad's artworks. No, I want to have access to my dad's YouTube channels. That's what I deserve. Draft a will. If you're not drafting a will, at least start the conversation with your family. Go to your family WhatsApp group. Hey guys, we need to speak about wills. Penuel the Black Pen said from the 12th to the 16th of September, it's Wills Week. So we need to find law firms that can help us draft wills for free. What assets do we have as a family? What land? What properties? What intellectual properties? What bank accounts? Of course, you may not trust your family, and that's sad. That's a different conversation. But who do you trust? We're not even speaking yet about children. We speak very much, oh, these are my godchildren, you know, that's my children's godmother. Do you know what that means? It means that if the person dies, this child is going to be your responsibility. You will be the guardian. Is that captured in a will somewhere? Have you informed your family that, oh, my best friend will raise my kids if I pass away? Does your best friend even have a good relationship with your kids? Do they attend your children's school events? Do they have a strong relationship with your kid whereby your children know if anything ever happens, mom has said, I'll go and live with auntie whoever. Dad has said, I'll go and live with uncle whoever. We're not having very important conversations. We're in 2022, a lot of people have been hurt by some of these things, and we can't keep being caught with our pants down. I'm here, of course, to offer education, for us to connect, for us to teach each other. If any of the information I've given you is wrong or you know better, please drop it in the comments below so that we can engage and learn together. Of course, I'm going to carry on traveling around the country, meeting some of you, and these are some of the hard conversations I want us to have. Is marriage relevant? What type of marriage? What's a prenup? What should I do with my children? What's a guardian? What's a godmother? What's a next of kin? Where should I save my money? Where should I invest? What's a trust? What's a will? I want to protect my family. How should I do it? I think my family needs therapy. How do we go about doing some of those things? Some heavy content for Monday morning, but very educational and fundamentally important. The latest episode of the Panel Show is out with Nota Baloy, La Vida Nota. I hope you guys will enjoy it. Penuel the Black Pen, have a blessed day. Remember to work hard, take care of yourself. And shout out to all my penuelists. I'll be seeing you guys in Durban next week. I love you very much. Cheers.